Welcome to the Tech Files Dose of Common Sense. If common sense was so common, how come it seems like nobody has it? Welcome to it. Coming to you live from Tech Files Studios, San Antonio, Texas. July 5th, now the 6th, 2017. How y'all doing, guys and girls? Ready for some wonderful tech news? Let's get to it. Alright, so a couple of notes on Samsung. Of course, we've got more renders of the Galaxy Note 8 than you could possibly shake a stick at. And so far, they are all, and I mean all, coming very, very close to exactly what the renders are supposed to be. Dual camera sensor on the back, and the fingerprint sensor is right next to the camera sensor. Dear Jesus God, why? Well, I guess you'll find out when everyone starts smudging their cameras. Speaking of things that don't quite fit, and Samsung, number one, the Galaxy Note FE, as in the F edition, is now out in South Korea. Congratulations to anybody that's listening in South Korea right now. You have a phone that, quite frankly, about half of the people in the United States wanted, but we ain't ever going to see it. So, unfortunately, enjoy and have fun with that phone. By the way, Galaxy Note 8 will be announced August 26th at IFA. The IFA, which seems to me like kind of a marketing faux pas for Samsung. Speaking of marketing faux pas, those of you who have the Galaxy S8 and the Galaxy S8 Plus, and I ought to know this as well because I'm included in that. As a matter of fact, I think little Stevie's going to be included in that too. Yeah, I know. I'm so sorry, little Stevie. Yeah. I know. Anyway. Bixby. Those of you who have it outside of the United States, guess what? You have the feature and everything's proceeding along normally. Those of us in the States that kind of wonder, what happened to Bixby? I mean, after all, we do have let's see. We have a hardware button for it. Yes, I remember now. We have a hardware button for Bixby. And some of us who went and applied for beta, we're also beta testing it. So our hardware buttons aren't entirely useless. But those of you who didn't opt in for the beta, in fact, I think it was a very, very closed soak test, you're going to have to wait. And you're going to have to wait a little bit longer than even what you thought before. Let's go in review on this. So Bixby is supposed to be, there's three things to it. Bixby Home is one of them. Bixby Vision is another, and there's a third one. It's the actual assistant. Okay. These were all supposed to launch on April 21st along with the phone. Now, bear in mind, if you are not living in the United States, odds are you probably have this, of course, unless you're in the European Union, and then you're right along with us, and I feel bad for you, really. So, to make a long story short, Bixby will not be available until fall, and we're wondering why. Well, come to find out, when Google has their assistant operational, Google has what is known as deep mind capability. Basically, it has a very, 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 we're talking petabytes, guys, petabytes worth of data that it can more or less use to, let's make a long story short, has petabytes of data that it can use to draw upon any number of skills that it could need. Okay? And it determines this quite simply so it can recognize the voice and it can fulfill commands. So Google Assistant has it. Alexa has it. Siri was like molasses rolling uphill in winter, but now it's finally getting there. So of course it's going to take Samsung a little bit of a learning curve. Samsung's got quite a bit of a learning curve as far as English speakers are concerned. The main reason is the main headquarters for Samsung, and honestly where they do most of their business, is in Korea, China, Japan, basically that little corner of the world, right there, East Asia, Southeast Asia, right in that area is where they do the majority of their smartphone business. So programming Bixby for that was not that much of a concern for them. However, getting it set up to have the United States and the European Union and basically any country that has English as their primary language, that's where the problems come in, because it does not have that large, immense database to fall back on. So the development is taking a while, and we're going to have to wait. They're saying fall. They're saying late Q3, early Q4 possibly. My response is, then why in the F did you put a hardware button there? And those of us who wanted to remap the hardware button because, quote unquote, it's useless now, can't. The biggest reason we can't is because when the phone first came out, we were able to do it, and we were able to do it relatively easily. Android's APIs allow us to do that. So Samsung came out with an update. No, you can't. We're not going to allow it. Well, apparently they forgot about XDA, because as of right now, the last count I had, there's at least 12 or 13 different applications that can be known as overlays. To describe that better, they are applications that are technically monitors. They detect when you press the Bixby button. And rather than launch that, the remapper in question intercepts the signal, and basically it's an overlay. It overlays what you choose to run on top of that. In essence, you're using more memory that's on board. However, you have what you want. You have a remapped button. You don't have this useless quarter-inch pilot junk that's sitting on the left-hand side of the phone, and you press the button and it does nothing. You have an option there. If anybody wants to research any further, I do have links to these stories. They are in the description. To add on top of all this fun, not only do you have to wait until the fall to get your Bixby button working, Samsung has decided that they are going to keep pace with the Joneses, so to speak. So Google has Google Home, Amazon has the Alexa, the Echo Dot, the Echo Show now, the Echo, the Echo Dot, the Echo Show, I'm so sorry, the original Echo, and there's another one I do believe, on top of which Alexa's pretty much available in any device you roughly want to create it in. From what I'm understanding, it's either as close to open source as possible, or it is in fact open source, because Alexa is actually available through the HTC U11, through countless other phones around the world. They are available through that. Okay, so, but anyway, I'm getting off subject here. So, Google has Google Home, Amazon has the Echoes, Apple is about to come out with the HomePods, and wait for it, Bixby don't work in the States, we don't care. we are coming out with Bixby speaker. This goes under the heading of stupid tech. If you're going to put out a speaker and your name is Samsung, do me a favor, make sure it works for around the world before you put this speaker out. It's kind of like somebody buying a couple of smartwatch companies. Yes, I am talking about Fitbit. You bought Pebble, you bought Vector, and you've produced crap. There are countless stories of this. Fitbit buying Pebble and Vector, Microsoft buying Nokia, that's the biggest one of all. Hey, let's buy a $7 billion phone company and let's run it into the ground because we don't know what the hell we're doing. Sorry, guys, I love you, Microsoft, but that's my opinion. And, not a whole lot of people may agree with me on that. But that's my opinion, and I have every right to say that because I was a Windows Phone user. And there's various other Windows Phone users, and they're getting very, very, very frustrated with this. Speaking of stupid tech, and I'm still wondering why this is going on, the LG Q6, otherwise known as G6 Mini, mother of God again, it will be unveiled on July 11th. Odds are we will probably not see this phone in the States. Once again, it will probably be available, I'm going to guess, the very first place is going to probably be South Korea. Don't be surprised if it spreads out to Southeast Asia, possibly Europe. States will never see it. And the reason we won't see it, once again, is our carrier system. If they don't want to pair their phones over here, they don't have to. They can put their phone anywhere in Europe and they'll work with them. They can put their phone at Telcel, Telcom, SK Telecom. They can put it Vodafone. In other words, they can cover Southeast Asia. They can cover the Middle East. They can cover Europe pretty much. They can even cover frickin' Russia. But some reason, and the perfect translation of this would go to Liico, which they're still having their assets froze, by the way. But Liico tried to get into the States, had major problems. Sony had been in the States, and the only thing we see of Sony now is kind of like Halley's Comet. Once in a blue moon, and it's like we're in Australia. Sorry, Australia, I love you. I've always wanted to visit there, but this is just an example. Let's say the comet's going over North America and you live in Australia. You're not going to see it, unfortunately. Australia will see this phone. I'm almost certain of it. However, because they're part of Vodafone. And they'll see it. We never will, unfortunately. I hope that's not true. I hope there's a couple of Q6s that show up here. There are probably people that'll import it. But we'll see. We will see. Next up, a couple of stories here related to T-Mobile. I'll just go into them briefly. The T-Mobile One Plus plan, according to rumors from several different sources, is going from $75 a month to $80 a month. Granted, it is a price hike of $5. However, it is the plan that has all the taxes and excise fees and everything else tacked onto it. Once again, this is something that international carriers will never see because international carriers have unlimited data for $35 a month. So, that's something that we have to put up with. T-Mobile, we've slowly been nickeled and dimed from, I'd say late 2014, 2015. And it's because the angry god of ARPU, and basically any phone sales rep that's listening to me right now knows exactly what I'm referring to. For those of you who don't, I will let you know what this is right now. Angry god of ARPU ARPU stands for average revenue per user, pretty much. Every single customer is known as a user, and average revenue equals what each of them is worth. It's a key performance indicator. So if you are selling phones in wherever, could be United States, could be Great Britain, could be Japan, China, whatever. Key performance indicators are where you want to be as a phone company. And I'll give examples for this. Any rep that works for T-Mobile or Metro PCS, and I know T-Mobile's more, Metro PCS used to be around 55 per customer. That's what they wanted the indicator to be. Sprint, I know, wanted at least $50 in accessories and aftermarket items on top of every purchase. Sprint, I love you. I don't have any problem with your company. I do wish there was a couple of dealers that weren't licensed by you. I won't name names. But I digress. T-Mobile's OnePlus is going up by $5 a month. It includes taxes, it includes fees. The OnePlus plan for T-Mobile, it's basically a negligible price hike. The reason I'm letting you know this is because you will have everybody and their brother saying the sky is falling, they're charging too much. Basically, they never charged enough. Let's just translate this for a minute. So when T-Mobile had their Un-carrier plan, we were all kind of hoping that they wouldn't have to, what's the word I'm looking for? They wouldn't have to undercut themselves. They are. They've known it for about 4 years. They slowly put everything back where it was supposed to be. This is just one more little step in getting themselves back to good, as we shall say. T-Mobile 2012, 2013, everybody pretty much washed their hands of them and said they were done. As you recall, AT&T wanted to buy them. Deal fell through. T-Mobile got paid $34 billion as a breakup fee. And they said thank you, and they took that money and they're straightening out their network. They have straightened it out. As a matter of fact, it beats holy hell out of AT&T now, in my personal opinion. And I had the Nokia 521 through AT&T. So, by the way, to those of you in the States, do you have T-Mobile? Do you like your plan? Are you thinking of switching because of this? Let me know in the comments. Leave a comment. Leave a review. Leave me an email. show@techfiles.com. Actually, show@techfilesmedia.com. Or leave me a tweet at techfiles. I'll be more than happy to discuss it with you. I personally had Verizon before I had T-Mobile. I would never go back to Verizon. I'll deal with T-Mobile and Metro. So, next up with T-Mobile, and this is only occurring with T-Mobile, Project Fi, and Rodgers in Canada. This is the problem they're currently experiencing right now. If anybody's listening to me that has a Pixel or a Pixel XL or a Nexus, and you're getting a notice on your phone right now that says security update, don't download it yet. Here's why. As of right now, what's going on is the download is taking place. However, the update is not completing. In other words, it's a failed update. I don't know how bad it leaves the phone when it fails with the update, but from what I'm understanding, it is kind of bad because depending on what you're doing at the time, it could either do it where you have to have a soft reset, which is okay. We all do that from time to time. It's known as basically powering the phone off and back on. In rare cases, it has caused you have to completely reset the phone to factory specs. And in 2 cases that I'm hearing of, and the source on this one, I'm not even going to post it because I don't quite buy it. They're basically saying that the phone's bricked. So if you have T-Mobile or Project Fi, or you have Rodgers in Canada, I know of a few who do. So any Canadian that's listening to my voice that happens to have a Pixel, Pixel XL, or Nexus, do me a favor, don't you dare download this update yet. Give them 24 hours to get everything straightened out. Usually Google's pretty good about getting that part fixed, at least as far as updates are concerned. Unlike the deal with OnePlus, which right now we still don't know about their displays to where they were actually put in upside down. I'm still trying to get that localized. So more to come on that. So I will also update the feed however it may go. I may even put out a 10-minute show or something tomorrow to let you know what the status of that is on Project Fi, the update, so on and so forth. Okay, so just to let you know that will be coming through. Now, HTC U11. I'm gonna switch the order up just a little bit here. The HTC U11, the Solar Red, will soon be up for sale through online resources. If I'm correct on this, I believe they're already available through carrier outlets. And from the several people that I have spoken to, the U11 is actually not that bad of a phone if you can deal with... That's right, if you can deal with the squeeze fashion. Basically, it's a $600 roll of Charmin, is what they want to call it. But everybody has their opinion. A lot of them stink, but I'll leave that one be as well. A couple of news on the Apple front. As far as we know, as of this moment, the renders of the iPhone are firming up. As of right now, it's going to be at least 85 to 90% screen. The only issue they're having right now is what kind of a security sensor to put on it. Whether they're going to put Touch ID, or whether they're going to put if it was me, I would put Touch ID on the back of the phone. I really, really, really would. And the reason I would say that would be pretty much to, what am I looking for here? I would put Touch ID on the phone. I would put it in a separate location. Because you can't, if the bezel is going to be as large as the renders say it's going to be, you cannot put Touch ID on the front of the phone. It won't work. It'll look like a messed up phone that's been punched in the face. You can put it on the back of the phone. Just don't put it where the camera sensor is. Dear God. You can put it on the back of the phone with very, very little issues. However, a couple of things that are discussing. Number one, they're discussing possible inlay display Touch ID. That's fine. There have been known accuracy issues as far as I'm being told. This is from several different outlets. I actually have a link to one from Phone Arena. I will put that in the show's description. Remember, I will put every story that I talk about. If I have a reliable source and one that's not spam ad, in other words, you could pull up the link and you're not going to get slapped in the face with 3 tons of spam. I'm not sending my listeners to a spam site. So, websites, if you want me to help you report your sources, get rid of your effing spam. Thank you. Off of that rant. They're talking about an inlaid fingerprint sensor for the iPhone 8. They're also talking about a possible $1,000 cost for the iPhone 8. Are you kidding me? Number one, the price tag's not going to work because it's way too high and no one's going to buy it unless you tack on so many subsidies that the carriers are going to lose money. That's number one. Number two, in-display fingerprint sensors are an unproven source. You cannot guarantee that the customer of any way, shape, form, or fashion is going to be able to unlock using their thumbprint on a sensor that is embedded in glass. You can show me any graph that you like, any charts and graphs, Mount Rushmore, Athena, Apollo, whatever. It's not going to work that way. Here's what you're going to get if you try. Okay? Yeah, that'll be your customer base if you try for an inlaid display that's not going to work. That simple. It's not going to happen. I rest my case on that. Now, they're still talking about face unlock. I'm just going to put it to you like this without getting on another one of these rants. In fact, I may end up going on this rant anyway. If they do face unlock, 9 times out of 10, Apple's usually a little bit late to the market. But when they come in late, they usually have all their stuff together and it all works. The only two issues that I know that they've had problems are on. Number one was Siri. When Siri first came out, if you asked her 2 plus 2, she'd probably tell you it was 22. It wasn't that great. The second would be Apple Maps, which was a complete joke. It couldn't drive you out of a wet paper bag. Both of which have improved greatly. Thank you. Kudos to Apple for, they constantly improve on their products anyway. Here's my point. If they use Face Unlock, you can guarantee that it's going to operate a lot better than Android did. And I can already hear, and I can't exactly say that I'm not one. I can already hear Android fanboys saying,
but Face Unlock, it was available with Apple, with the Android 4. It was available with Jelly Bean and Ice Cream Sandwich.
Yes, and it was available on the Note 8.
But it was still used for security unlock. Why?
Well, because it sucked. And Android wanted to demonstrate the fact that it had the ability to use that to unlock phones without putting the customer through more trouble than what it was worth. Which is exactly what Face Unlock turned out to be, because those of you who are on the fanboy side, I'm kind of one of them, once you did it through the Jelly Bean, you noticed it wasn't mentioned in Ice Cream Sandwich, it wasn't mentioned in Lollipop, it wasn't mentioned in Marshmallow, it sure the hell wasn't mentioned in Nougat, unless you were Samsung, but that's because you also had iris scanning to where it actually worked. The only two things I see working with Android or with Apple, if they don't use the Touch ID, would be two things. An improved face scanner system that actually effing scans your face, and you can't fool with picture, or iris scan. And if it's iris scan, the only company that I know of right now that does this research in that is Samsung. So maybe one of the reasons that Samsung actually came out with the Fan Edition, I have no idea. Conspiracy theories abound. Speaking of Apple, their earnings call for Q3 will be out on August 1, and I'm sure, or reasonably sure, that no records are going to be broken here, but if you're putting out the earnings call on August 1, you're probably going to have WWDC, or at least the announcement of the iPhone 8 or X or whatever you're going to call it. You're going to have that out in September. So Apple's slowly, strategically putting all their ducks in a row, so when they announce this, everything's going to go gangbusters. So look for it. Look for more rumors about the iPhone 8. Look for more rumors about the in-display fingerprint sensor. Earnings call is going to be August 1st. I want to do a quick recap behind that. HTC is coming out with a U11 Mini, as well as the Solar Red. Dear God. Guys, I'm just going to... Okay. We're going on a rant here. Okay? And I'm kind of a little cranky on this one. So here we go. Okay, to those of you who love to put out mini versions of your smartphone, there are people in the customer base that love you for it. To a certain extent, there are people in the tech fan base who love you for it. I have one small, mini question in favor to ask of thee. If you're going to make your phone mini, don't castrate the damn thing. If you're going to mini it, put the exact same specs, put the as close. I understand you probably are not going to be able to include all the cameras, because I know for the fact G6 couldn't, and the reason it couldn't on the Q6 was because the camera sensor wouldn't fit in the fuselage of the phone. Perfectly understandable. Even if you don't put the same camera sensor on the phone, don't castrate the damn thing. If it came out with an 835, put an 835 in it. If it came out with a Quad HD display, put a Quad HD display in it. I mean, minimization, it's not an unknown concept. Minimization, Sony was really, really good at it until about 2013, and they managed to drop the ball. Pick it up and run with it. And then here's another lesson. If you're going to actually do mini and you're not going to castrate the phone, learn another concept called marketing. LG came out with the G5 2016. Okay? 2016, they came out with the G5. And friends, here's a little bit of a clue right now. I love the G5 until I actually touched the phone. And their friends might as well be on the side of a milk carton, because the friends were the DAC, which was digital analog converter, B&O. It was the camera grip, and there was one other one. It was the camera grip, it was the DAC, and there was one other one. Oh yeah, it was the LG, the camera. Like I said, you might as well have put them three things on the side of a milk carton. Have you seen me? Because they never showed up in the States, and if they did, I think they were at B&O, or no, they were at B&H. And the thing about that was they imported it. So you had to pay an exorbitant amount of money. And the DAC itself wouldn't even work in the States. So if you're going to do marketing, do it the right way. Don't pull an LG, announce your product, and then say diddly, because you're going to get about as much coverage as, let's just say, crickets. Don't have your prior phone be one of the best ever. HTC's done this. They hired somebody that was already involved in a major movie franchise, gave him creative control, and at the end of the day, he said, quote unquote, okay, my choice is to do nothing. Which not only pretty much wrecked the M9 without the software issues, but that wrecked HTC for a good year. And I mean, there's countless examples. Google, until this year, every phone they would ever put out as part of their Nexus line, RIP Nexus, every phone they would ever put out on the Nexus line, they would put it out and then you would hear silence. Motorola would put out a phone and then you would hear silence. Who else would be in that? The only ones that knew of a concept on marketing was Samsung, Nokia, when they were, before Microsoft pretty much stabbed them through the chest with computers. And they did. They bought them for $7.6 billion and then proceeded to let someone run the company that didn't know a damn thing. So I'm about ready to say RIP Windows Phone. Microsoft, if you're going to do a Surface Phone, you better do it before the end of this year. Because if you don't do it before the end of this year, Windows Phone, as far as I'm concerned, is dead. Dead on the doornail, DOA, dead on arrival. Put it on the autopsy table. You won't need to do much to find out what killed it. Stephen Elop, there's one. We hate you, by the way. And the other one is the constant succession of idiots at Microsoft that don't know what the hell they're doing with a phone, but they have no problems putting computers together. Unless, of course, you go to Windows 10. Windows 10 up to about a month ago was pure garbage. I'm on a rant, but I'm going to end it right now. So, do me a favor. If you're going to put out a mini, don't castrate the thing. Give it the same specs. We'll be fine with that. If you castrate the specs, people are going to let you have it, not the least of which me, my listeners, any tech fan. They're going to let you have it, so you might as well be prepared for it now. And if you got a good product, you better market the thing. I mean, if you want to make money anyway. Some of these people don't want to make money, I think. So, I tell you who actually wanted to make money. Unfortunately, they couldn't make it in the States, and that was the Eco. But that's enough of marketing class, and that's enough of, dear God, please don't let these minis be ugly. So, T-Mobile OnePlus is going up by $5. I really don't care about that one. It's going up by $5. Your taxes would run that much if it wasn't on T-Mobile One. Don't download the current update until Google says it's okay, because as of 10:45 p.m. Central Standard Time on July 5th, they were still having issues with T-Mobile, Project Fi, and Rodgers. So if you are in any one of those three categories, do not download the update. You will have issues. Or at least there's a good possibility. The LG Q6 will be released on July 11th. Bixby, of course, is not only having issues with their own damn phones, but Bixby's having issues as far as getting put into Samsung's phones. And on top of which, they want to put a speaker. I bet you do. And the renders of the Galaxy Note 8 they continue to leak, and they're firming up as to exactly what it's going to be. Camera sensor, ugly fingerprint location, and all. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you have any feedback whatsoever, whether it's in the hashtag stupid tech file, or in the here's my daily driver, I think it sucks, or here's my daily driver, I think it's great, or here's my daily driver, period. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, somebody wants to prove to me that the phone is OnePlus display isn't mounted in upside down, feel free, email me, show, SHOW, at techfilesmedia, TEKFILESMEDIA.com. Don't bother going to the webpage. They're having issues finishing the construction of the webpage. I don't know why. I'm about ready to do this myself. If you go to the webpage, all you're going to see is the web hosting service. That's it for the moment. Hopefully that will be fixed midday tomorrow. So, show at techfilesmedia.com. Send me a tweet at techfiles. Follow me at techfiles. Follow the show. Thumb it up. Comment on it. Good, bad, ugly. I don't care. Give me some extra feedback. Let us know how we can take this thing on a rocket ship. I'll tell you what, we've been on the air for about a little over a week, and we've already managed to do that. And I thank you for that. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, Tech Files Dose of Common Sense is slowing down to the station and ready for departure. Thank you for having me in your homes, whether this be night, day, or afternoon. Thank you to my listeners around the world. I very much appreciate you listening to me. And we are on Google Play Music, Stitcher, digitalpodcast.com, tunein.com, iTunes, SoundCloud, Pocketcast, and of course, none of this would be possible without Spreaker, and I thank them for their support. Thank you all, ladies and gentlemen. We are out. stay classy. This has been a Tech Files Media production.